The hottest day of the summer arrived without mercy. The sidewalks shimmered beneath the blazing afternoon sun, the power grid groaned under endless demand, and every apartment in our aging building felt like an oven. I never imagined that before sunset, a single knock on my bedroom door would change two lonely lives forever. Standing in the hallway was my roommate, her face pale from exhaustion, wrapped in a simple robe after her air conditioner had completely failed. She looked as though she had spent hours fighting the unbearable heat, and in that fragile moment, she quietly asked if she could sleep in my room for just one night. Neither of us knew that one desperate request would uncover hidden pain, forgotten dreams, and a second chance neither of us had ever expected. Before we continue, if you believe kindness can change someone's life and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Everyday English Podcast. Your support helps bring more heartfelt stories like this to people around the world. My name is Adrian, and I had rented the small two-bedroom apartment nearly 3 years earlier after my divorce left me starting over with very little. The apartment wasn't beautiful, but it was affordable, close to work, and quiet enough for peaceful evenings. Several months before that unforgettable summer, a new roommate moved in after my previous one relocated for work. Her name was Maren, a freelance graphic designer who mostly worked from home. She was polite, respectful, and independent. We shared groceries occasionally, laughed over awkward cooking disasters, and paid our bills on time, but beyond friendly conversations in the kitchen, our lives rarely crossed paths. We were simply two adults sharing rent while carrying invisible burdens neither of us discussed. That July, the heatwave broke every local record. Temperatures climbed higher each day, and the old apartment building struggled to keep up. My bedroom had a newer window air conditioner I had purchased with nearly an entire month's savings. Maren's older unit had been working poorly for weeks, making strange noises before finally giving up completely that afternoon. Maintenance couldn't replace it for several days because every repair crew in the city was overwhelmed by similar emergencies. By sunset, her room had become dangerously hot. Even opening the windows only welcomed hotter air inside. When she stood outside my door that evening, I noticed more than the sweat on her forehead. I noticed exhaustion that went far beyond physical discomfort. Her shoulders seemed heavy with something she had been carrying for years. Without hesitation, I moved a chair, brought in an extra blanket, and set up enough space so we could both sleep comfortably without feeling awkward. It wasn't a grand act of generosity. It simply felt like the right thing to do. That night the apartment was unusually quiet. Outside, emergency sirens echoed through the city as people struggled with heat-related illnesses. Inside, the cool air from my small AC filled the room with relief. We stayed awake much longer than expected, speaking softly about ordinary things that slowly became deeply personal. Maren shared how she had once dreamed of opening her own design studio, but after losing both parents within 2 years, she had spent everything caring for them through long illnesses. By the time life became quiet again, her savings, confidence, and dreams had nearly disappeared. Listening to her story reminded me of my own failures. My marriage had ended not because of betrayal but because grief and disappointment had quietly built walls between two people who once loved each other deeply. After the divorce, I buried myself in work, convinced that staying emotionally distant would protect me from future heartbreak. Sitting in that small room during one of the hottest nights imaginable, I realized loneliness can exist even when another person is only a few feet away. The following morning, sunlight poured through the curtains. The city looked washed out beneath the relentless heat, yet something inside our apartment had changed. Breakfast became longer than usual. Coffee tasted warmer, conversations became easier, and silence no longer felt uncomfortable. Over the following days, while waiting for maintenance to replace her air conditioner, we naturally shared the room each evening. What had started as an emergency slowly became a friendship built on honesty instead of polite distance. One afternoon, while helping Maren organize some old storage boxes, I discovered dozens of beautiful illustrations she had hidden away for years. Every drawing carried remarkable talent, yet none had ever been shown publicly. She admitted fear had convinced her that her work would never be good enough. That confession stayed with me long after she returned to her room. I remembered how easily people abandon their own dreams after life convinces them they are no longer worthy of pursuing happiness. The next weekend, I secretly created a simple online portfolio using her artwork while she visited a local cafe. When she returned, I nervously showed her what I had done. Instead of anger, tears filled her eyes. No one had believed in her abilities for a very long time. Within days, friends began sharing her portfolio across social media. Soon small freelance requests started arriving. Then larger projects followed. Little by little, confidence replaced self-doubt. Watching her confidence return also changed me. I stopped accepting overtime every weekend and started reconnecting with hobbies I had abandoned years earlier. We began cooking dinner together, taking evening walks after sunset, and laughing more than either of us had in a very long time. Neighbors noticed the difference. The apartment that once felt quiet and emotionally empty slowly became filled with warmth that had nothing to do with the weather outside. By early autumn, Maren had earned enough new clients to rent a tiny studio where she could finally work professionally. The day she received the keys, she invited me to see the empty room. There was almost nothing inside besides white walls and sunlight pouring through large windows, but to her it looked like a palace. I realized dreams rarely begin with luxury. Sometimes they begin with someone simply believing in you when you have forgotten how to believe in yourself. Looking back, it amazes me that everything started because one old air conditioner stopped working during a brutal heatwave. A broken machine forced two strangers to lower the emotional walls they had spent years building. It reminded me that kindness often arrives disguised as inconvenience. The moments we fear the most sometimes become the moments that quietly reshape our future. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who may need hope today, and subscribe to Everyday English Podcast. Your support encourages more stories that remind us how simple acts of compassion can change lives forever. Special request, please comment below and tell us about a moment when one small act of kindness changed your life or someone else's. Your story may inspire thousands of people reading the comments. Today, whenever summer returns and the weather reports warn of another dangerous heatwave, I don't immediately remember the unbearable temperatures. Instead, I remember a quiet knock on my bedroom door, a tired young woman asking for a safe place to sleep, and the extraordinary journey that followed. Some people enter our lives through carefully planned introductions, while others arrive through unexpected emergencies. The difference is not how they arrive but whether we choose to open the door. Sometimes the greatest gift we can offer another person isn't money, success, or perfect advice. Sometimes it is simply making room for them when life becomes unbearably difficult. And in doing so, we often discover that the person most transformed by kindness is ourselves.